Whenever you have a guard bringing in, that gives you like your advantage. That's kind of like how gangs use guards.
How much does it take to pay off a guard on average?
You could pay a guard. Tobacco is the biggest hustle in there. Yeah, because cigarettes are banned. They're illegal, so there's a huge black market for them. Everybody smokes them. The guards are much more willing to risk it. A guard could sell a pack of tobacco for $1,000.
What? Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow 6'6" brother in the building today, Johnny Mitchell.
What's up, dog?
It doesn't happen often.
Damn, dude, I saw this gangly. We call it people like us ectomorphs. That's our body type.
I'm gonna start saying that to
Yeah,
people.
dude, 6'6" and skinny, bro, and you're winning.
Yeah.
That gives me hope.
You always been that way though, skinny?
Yeah.
Okay, same here.
I'm the least skinny that I've ever been. Except getting out of prison. That's when I was like a little yoked up.
Yeah.
But I'm just I'm a skinny mini.
Yeah, in prison you got to get jacked, right? So people didn't come at you.
Yeah, and also like your car, it's a gang, but your car, we call them in there, they force you to work out. So it's also just a pride thing, right? Like you walk out of your cell with your hair all up, they'll send you back to comb your hair and button up your shirt when you go to chow. I'm like, guys, there's no here.
Yeah.
Who gives a what we look like?
I would get roasted, man.
But it's like because it's like let's maintain a certain standard. Or else the whole thing will just fall into animalism, even more than it is. I think that was the thinking behind it.
Where were you on the hierarchy? Was it one guy giving instructions or was it like a group decision?
No, I was relatively non-affiliated, but I sat with the whites. I sat with, they were a mix of like Hells Angels, Woods, Pecker Woods, Dirty White Boys. These are like all like second rate, not the Hells Angels, but the rest of those groups that I mentioned, those are all like second-rate offshoots of the Aryan Brotherhood, who's like the top white supremacist gang in the whole country, but there's very few of them. And they're ruthless. Thank God I never met any because like they'll just kill you. Damn. Yeah. So, but all of they give orders to all of like the subsidiary white gangs.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was those guys that I had to sit with because there's no way you're going to sit at a black table or a Paisa Mexican table. Yeah. But I didn't have to get down like that. I just had good paperwork. I had a cellie. My cellmate Jimmy was a really high-ranking member of the Hells Angels. He was the shot caller for the little cell block we were on.
So he had your back.
He kept me non-affiliated because he was like, "Man, you should not be in here.
Yeah.
Let's get you out of here."
Wow.
As soon as possible.
So if you were caught talking to a black person or a Mexican person, what would happen?
I've talked to him every day. I play babasketball with him every day.
Oh, so you were allowed to communicate.
I was on the hoop court with him. Yeah, no. You can. It's not like this is not some pre-civil rights kind of society.
Because in the movies,
it's not like that. You work with black people, Mexican people. They do dope deals together. I mean, it's like you just when it comes to like working out, eating. Being in a cell together, that's where you don't mix.
Got it.
Yeah. Got it.
But was there a lot of tension or not really?
No, the most tension was actually between the gangs themselves. So it's, this gang finds out, like the Paisas, right? The Norteños would go to war against the Sureños. And they're always stabbing each other.
Damn.
Even in Oregon, which is a pretty tame prison system overall. Or it's like the white boys... Somebody got out of line and they're disciplining him. So you didn't see a lot of, because if a whole racial riot pops off, that's bad. Nobody wants that.
Right.
Because then it's like everybody is getting stabbed. Everybody's getting locked down for weeks at a time. All the dope traffic, the money that they're making from cigarettes or meth or whatever they're hustling, that all gets shut down. So everybody tries to avoid that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So drugs were pretty rampant in prison. They were
pretty rampant. Yeah. Especially at one facility I was at, the white boys had a guard bringing it in.
Wow.
And so whenever you have a guard bringing it in, that gives you like your advantage.
Right.
That's like your competitive advantage. If you're, to compare it to like a country, right? We just have the cheapest labor force and we have the best natural resources. That's kind of like how gangs use guards, and they'll make sure he doesn't work with another gang or another race.
Interesting. How much does it take to pay off a guard on average?
I mean, you could pay a guard. Tobacco is the biggest hustle in there now, even more so than drugs.
So cigarettes.
Yeah, because cigarettes are banned. They're illegal, so there's a huge black market for them. Everybody smokes them, and they're expensive. And the risk, you don't even get an extra charge if you get caught. It's just, you get a contraband charge maybe, but that's not like getting another drug charge. It's not like getting caught with heroin or something. So the guards are much more willing to risk it. So, dude, a guard could sell a pack of tobacco for $1,000.
What?
To a person. He could turn around and flip that for like $3,000 or $4,000.
What?
A stick, bro. A stick. I'm not even talking about a cigarette now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about you could break a cigarette down and make 10 of these sticks, and they're like as thin as possible. It'd be like if you were rolling a blunt, the shake that's like left over, the dust, that's the quantity that's in a stick, and that sells for $7.
Holy
So
crap.
it's like, dude, guards are buying new trucks, and they were eating.
Yeah.
So I definitely, but there's a lot of drugs. The black guys had the weed where I was at for I don't know why, probably because they had the plug. Whoever was bringing it in, or their baby mamas or whoever were bringing it in through the visiting room. But dude, I had black friends in there. They were smoking. They were getting high like 3 times a day.
Wow.
It's like college.
I mean, they're
it's crazy.
so bored. I mean, I don't blame them for wanting to do something.
Yeah, and there was meth too.
Yeah. Now, as someone who got locked up for drug dealing, how tempting was it to get yourself involved in that while you were inside?
No, not tempting at all. Because I was short timing. You know what I mean?
What's
short
that?
Time. Short timing is like anybody who's doing short time.
What's considered short time?
I would say 5 years or less.
Damn, 5 years would be long for me.
It was extremely long. I did 2 years, and that was long enough for me. But like, it depends. If you're locked up in the feds at like a USP, which is a maximum in the feds, 10 years is short timing. So because you got people doing 50 years life, everywhere you turn. So to me, it was like I had money saved up from the streets. Yeah. So my family was sending me money. I gave them a package of money before I went in.
Smart.
And so I didn't have to hustle. Like they could put $1,000 a month on my books, and that was a huge amount of money in prison. So I don't know. I had it cushy a little bit, I think. So I just didn't need to do that.
Right.
Thank God.
So $1,000 a month in prison, what could you buy inside of prison with that?
You get new shoes, you buy CDs, compact discs. I don't know how old you are.
I caught the tail end of it, actually.
Okay. So like that was all they had. Now I think they have like MP3s and but when I was in there, 2010, 2011, it was still CD players. So you would buy CDs that they were censored. So I'm listening to like Young Jeezy with no cussing in it. I'm like, this doesn't make me want to be nonviolent, you pricks. Just let us listen to shit with swearing in it. So you buy CDs, you buy Jordans, you would buy extra baked goods from like the kitchen. But there's not a lot to buy. It's basically just food and shoes. Yeah. Or if you're into drugs, like sometimes I would buy joints. I'd buy little sticks.
I feel
smoke them. You know what I mean? Or little tobacco sticks. Yeah. That was rare, but I did.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
A large number of patients, I think it's above 80%, go back to prison when they get out.
You call them patients?
Or sorry.
Yeah, they are. They're mental patients.
Prisoners.
Yeah, for sure.
So was that a worry for you, like getting stuck in the system?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely was planning on getting out and getting back to it, you know, but just I'm going to do it different this time. I'm going to be smarter. I know how to invest my dirty money now. I've had time to think about it. But by the end, like the shit that I saw and the people I met, I'm like, we can't do this again.
Wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The first time getting locked up once, now that I look back on it, and the money that I was making versus the time that I was risking was absolutely worth it.
So for 2 years, the money you were making was worth it at the time.
Yeah. Because, you're talking like $1.5 million a year for not really doing that much. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it took a long time to build up to that. It was like, how a startup doesn't take any profit for the first 5 years. That's like, you could describe my weed career like that, my weed dealing career.
Wow.
But when it finally hit and all the pieces came together, it was just like overnight, just more money than I could count, weighing the money by the end.
Damn. Yeah. Profiting 1.5 in a year off weed is pretty insane. So you were moving a lot of volume then.
Yeah. 50 pounds a week.
Damn. And was it all...
But I made like $1,000 profit per pound.
Wow. So 50K profit a week.
So, and that was just I got spectacularly lucky in terms of just timing what the weed prices were doing at the time. You know what I mean? I couldn't do that now. Like,
now they tanked, I heard.
Yeah, of course. They've tanked. They've come back up, and I think they're back down again. I don't know. It's like, apparently there's still people trapping out there, like doing it illegally. I mean, of course there are, but you have to move such quantity to just get any kind of good margin. I don't see how.
It's tough now because now states are legalizing it, so you're losing customers by the month.
Yeah, the states that have high taxes, though, you can, you sell, I think the hustle, I don't know. I think the hustle now, if you're a black market weed dealer, is that like in California, you sell your weed, your pounds that you grew that aren't registered. They didn't go through like the testing, all the state requirements. You sell them to trap shops, shops that don't really have all their paperwork together. And it's just all cash, and they sell it without tax. That's what keeps the clients coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the high taxes are what, anytime the government tries to restrict the free market, there will be a space for the black market.
Yeah. They did that when they banned alcohol, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how long were you doing this before you got caught?
Let's see. I mean, look, I was selling, nickel bags from like 2002 when I was 16. And it really took off when the hustle really, I really got committed to it in 2004 when I went away to college. I went to University of Oregon in Eugene. I'm from Portland. And, so year after year, it just got a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then 2009, 2010 is when it really hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were doing it for a while. What percentage of dealers at that level you think get caught?
I would say 90%. I'd say 100% if you never get out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I
would say it's you're I mean, look at the odds. You're dealing the laws, state, federal, county laws, they're all created a huge bureaucracy, the most powerful country on earth. All of the laws and the people are against you. You're just one guy. So, I mean, I knew people that got out before they got caught, and they got out with a lot of money. Yeah. So that's possible. I still think it's a low percentage that do that because they're either drug addicted or like me, you're just addicted to money in the game. So you need to get out. But it was like every other 500,000 I made, I'm like, let's just get one.
Yeah, the money's too good.
1 million sounds nice, but 2's got that ring to it. So, and then there are those who get caught, get out, and go back to it, and they're able to, but they change things up. Maybe they're not as big. There's people that sell, professional drug dealers who hustle for decades. Yeah.
Were there any signs of getting caught? Like, was there any police incidents or anything, or did it just happen?
We got raided. We had a stash house in 2009 where we kept all the work before we shipped it off to, the rest of the country. And we got raided. They got about 5 pounds and I think like 10 grand in cash, which was not much at the time for Oregon. So, I got arrested. I bailed out, got a lawyer. They wanted to get me to cooperate, but I'm like, I'm not going to snitch on my connect. They're the ones who were plugging me because I didn't stop at all. You know what I mean? Like the day I got out, I was making a move. Yeah. So but I was on felony probation. That's that's what really woke me up. I was like, I need to tighten up because I knew the next time I got caught, I was going down. I was going to jail.
So when you got caught the first time, it's just like a probation, basically.
Yeah. And if I had been in a place like Texas, or if I had been black, or if I had been uneducated, I'm being serious. I probably would have actually gone and done some time.
Damn.
But I was, I had no criminal record. I'm in a very liberal state. Medical marijuana by 2009 was already legal, so you had to get caught with a lot to like actually go away.
Interesting.
And go do time. So I was able to plead, and they were like, okay, well, you have a felony. You're on 3 years probation, but, we're going to give you like a suspended sentence, it's called.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then, you go do community service. Then you have to take piss tests and all that.
Yeah.
So
you got to stop smoking for a minute.
Exactly. But again, I was so reckless. Like I would just get other people's piss, or I would save, dude, I would get clean and then I would just piss for like 2 days and keep in my trap house where I bagged up and boxed up all the weed to ship it out. In the refrigerator, the only thing that was in there was bottled piss, saved clean piss.
That's nasty.
That I would heat up and put like in my leg when I was going into my PO to take a piss test for.
Oh my God. You had to heat it up because pee is warm, I guess?
Yes, you put it like you put like a heat pack. How did I do it? I think this is what you do. You tie a heat pack over the piss bottle and then you put it, you don't even have to put it in your leg, you put it in your pocket, and then you see the temperature strip. When it's above like 90 degrees, I think, then you just go into the bathroom and you just squirt it into the bottle.
Wow. That is fascinating. I got suspended once in high school for pulling a fire alarm. And to get back into school, I had to pass a drug test. Wow. And I was like smoking 5 times a day at the time. Yeah. I got clean in 5 days. When you're skinny, dude, it helps a lot.
Being skinny helps because you have no fat for the THC.
I was 3.2% body fat back then.
Wow.
Because I was a distance runner in high school.
I was
a twig, 132 pounds.
Were you? That's great. At 6'6"?
That's 6'5", yeah.
Wow. When did you have your growth spurt? Like super young?
I'd say like 9th grade. I grew like 4 inches.
Aren't you Asian?
Yeah, I'm half Asian.
So the white side is the height side?
Yeah, my dad was Irish, so I guess.
Wow.
There, yeah. Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
That's wild. Where'd you grow up?
In Jersey.
Oh, wow. So you must have been like a strict high school because like...
Yeah, I was a little dealer on the side too. Not at your level, but yeah.
Yeah, Jersey was a big market for me. Jersey was one of my best weed markets. I could get 200 pounds every month to Jersey. Easily.
Damn. Yeah, I heard East Coast was actually the best because if you were on the West Coast, it's way cheaper.
Yeah, so it was harder to turn a profit.
Yeah.
So, obviously New York City, we dealt with Dominicans up there. They were like professionals. Like I could never get them enough. They were like, what do you mean you can only get us 30? Like these are already sold before you get them to
wow.
them. I'm like, well, I can't, I'm like, okay, yeah, let me do better.
Yeah. And when you're dealing with transactions like that, people are bringing guns and stuff, right? Like weapons.
Yeah, but the weed is a lot chiller. It's a lot more low key.
Yeah.
Even though, yes, at that level, whenever I would go pick up from my guys, they would have guns. At least the first few transactions. I used to buy. My plug was a Mexican organization in Northern California. And these guys are from Sinaloa. And this is when the Sinaloa cartel used to send growers up to those regions just to grow pot.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first couple of times I met them, those dudes were strapped because they thought I was going to rob them. But I'm like, no, this changes my life. You guys get the best price. There's no way I'm going to rob you.
Yeah.
So at the really high levels, ripoffs are rare because everybody's making so much money. It's like, it just doesn't, it goes against logic. Right. You know what I mean?
Plus, it's probably a small circle at that level. So if you hear of a robbery, cut that guy off or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course it does happen. Like I remember I would test out new markets and, I would send a box with like a couple of pounds to a guy.
You would float it?
Or I'd take half up front and then he would just, disappear, stop answering his phone. But what am I going to go hurt the guy? Like I paid, $2,500 for 2 pounds.
Yeah. Part of the game, right?
Like it's part of the game. It's a business expense.
Yeah. I'm curious how you find the buyers at that level. Like, what is that process? Because this is pre-social media. This is pre-internet, right?
Exactly.
Like you're just word of mouth.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's a really good question. That was tricky. That was almost as tricky as finding the suppliers. But, it's a good question. I mean, luck mostly, right? One of my best friends that I knew from college, we were living in Argentina at the time. I was doing like a study abroad. This is such a white boy college story, but it's like I met him. He was from Jersey and all of his friends were big time weed dealers. And they were looking for like a West Coast plug. And so that was just like a perfect match made in heaven. And then through them, I met a Dominican guy who went to Rutgers in Jersey.
That's where I went.
You went to Rutgers? Yeah. So his cousins were all in the game, and they lived in Washington Heights, Manhattan, which is the Dominican neighborhood, Upper Manhattan. So through them, that's how I got connected with them. But then other times I'd be like, like I would float somebody, like if I could see somebody was moving product, but didn't have the bankroll.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so you're moving it to somebody who does have the bankroll. So I would say I would either throw them some free weed or some cash. And I'd be like, let me meet who's buying from you.
Yeah.
And let's see if like I can either float you product. I would work with people too.
Okay.
Like if I could see somebody's moving it, like he's moving, he can get rid of 2 pounds at a time. I'd give him 4 or 5. You know what I mean? And that way he can build up his cash reserve.
Yeah, that makes sense. Were you willing to step on toes? Were you willing to undercut people to get clients?
For sure.
Do you think that caused some enemies or didn't really matter?
No. That's free market. I wasn't robbing people. I mean, in my early days, we got robbed and committed robberies, but that's like petty, low level.
Yeah.
Like I would, like if somebody introduced me, if I'm selling to you and you introduce me to the guy who's really moving it, I would just step out of the way and deal with him.
Oh, you would just cut the guy
off. Of course, but he would probably cut you out. I'm the plug mostly. You know what I mean? So that's how that works. The buyer, this is at a time when the weed market still favored the supply side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was still the most important thing to have the best supply, the best price, right? It wasn't the other way around where now it's like there's way more supply than there is demand.
Yeah.
So the plug was the most important thing. I had to pay $10,000 in cash just to meet my suppliers.
Damn.
Back in the day.
That's
but
crazy.
I was like, well, it's worth it.
Just to meet them?
Just to meet them.
Holy
just to meet
crap.
them for them to be like, okay, bring me 40,000.
To take you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Did you ever want to level up from weed or you were cool with just staying there?
I think I was cool with it because I was like, yeah, this is why do anything else? If I could become a millionaire off weed, it's like, there's no, the only way to make that kind of money selling would be to, you have to move huge federal amounts of right? Like if I move as much as I moved weed, that's like 30 years.
Yeah, it's risky. Plus people can die from.
Yes, and that gets a lot trickier for sure.
If it gets laced or something, because weed never got laced, right?
Right. Well, no, but this is way before fentanyl.
Right. Yeah,
way before fentanyl.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
Way before fentanyl.
But look at you now, making millions off the podcast, dude.
No, it's not millions. It's not millions, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, maybe someday we're launching, we're expanding. We're growing in different directions. So
I mean, you got the viewership, man. If you keep it up, I see shows getting acquired every week now for absurd amounts. So
I've had some people approach me. They want to, it seems like the powers that be are trying to like
control
figure out how to have digital, assets.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of attractive. I think an exit is a good thing. I think the days of podcasting that just last forever, like, Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I think those are basically done. Like if you want to maintain like a premium on them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm starting to think of podcasts now as like a 3 to 5 year thing.
Same. I mean, I'm pretty honest with my audience. I'm building this to sell it,
Yeah.
Like I'm just being straight up. Like it's a lot of money. Like if someone offers a certain amount, I'm probably going to take it.
Yeah. You tell your fans, hey, look, I'm dating you. Yeah. As soon as I sell out, I'm marrying a younger chick.
But that being said, when I sell it, I'm not going to stop podcasting.
No. I'm just saying like, I guess what I'm saying is I think big podcasts to scale. Like I'm talking about, podcasts that get hundreds of thousands of views, if not more, every week. It's a new player to that space. It's going to be very difficult.
It's super hard.
And so that's why I think more concept-driven shows like The Connect will be the way to go because you have this like almost this arc.
Yeah.
Almost this arc of where it's like a season of your favorite TV show. It's like an HBO show, right? And maybe we'll run it 3 seasons, But like now it's like I've had every criminal on.
Yeah.
Every stripe of criminal. At a certain point, it will just be like that.
So you're not going to branch off from crime stuff. You're going to stay with it.
I'm gonna stay with the brand, but do a different kind of format. It's not going to be an interview show necessarily. It'll be vlogs and it'll be monologues, right? And it'll be more topical. Mm-hmm. And then my current page that's popping, the Connect, that may become something more like this, more of like a business or, you know, motivation or political or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. So it's like you could keep doing the channel forever, but I think like switching up brands, I think that's what keeps it exciting. And then it keeps you loving what you're doing. Because I don't want to do anything that I'm bored doing.
I won't have on someone if I don't think it'll be a conversation. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. If he's just going to promote it the whole time, I won't have that person on. Right. Because there's a few people like that. Right. Oh, I imagine in this space. In the business space. Yeah. Yeah. You probably turned down a ton of people too. I get people. There's people that I should have turned down. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with having sponsors. Because you're like, I have no guest this week, but I got to get something up because we were on schedule with the sponsorship. So that's kind of the downside. I've had a few people on who I'm like, in the middle of it, I'm like, oh, you're lying to me. That pisses me off. How can you tell if they're lying? Just, you talk to them long enough. Yeah. This is why cops ask you the same question over and over and over again. Right. Because they know you're going to get your story wrong. So it was like that. So I had a couple of them on. One of them did good numbers. The other didn't. So I'm like, yeah, no more. We'll just skip a week. Yeah. Yeah, there's no point in lying because if you just lie on so many shows, you're going to get caught up in your own lies. Yeah. You know? Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, so I think that's that's really what I want to do. I want to create different concepts for YouTube. Absolutely. And make them finite. You probably get asked this a lot, but any guests that you've had on that you really liked, they were your favorite ones? Yeah, dude. I've had several. I mean, Rick Ross was great. Freeway Rick was great. This guy named Unique. Shout out. He was a kingpin. He was like the East Coast Rick Ross, I'd say. And he's got a fascinating story. You can go watch that. We've had a couple of interviews with him. And then, yeah, I enjoy a lot of people. Like, you know, even like I had a cop on, he was really good. He infiltrated the Crips as a white guy. So you have both perspectives on. Yeah. Yeah. I had, the mob guys. Love. Yeah. I just love old guineas from New York. Mm-hmm. They're so funny. They're so friendly. Like they're just such stereotypes, but they're always really good people. So yeah, I really like them. So no, it's been quite a journey, but we're keeping it rocking. Absolutely. Did you have Johnny Chang on? No. Okay, that was someone else. That guy's blowing up, man. Yeah. Have you seen him? What's his thing? He was part of the Asian gang. I forget which Asian gang it was, but he is just blowing up. I had a real Asian guy on. Oh, yeah? I'm talking like, you could barely understand him. But he was a gang member from one of the triads in Chinatown in the 80s. Damn. And he's talking about extortion payments, and he's talking about, bringing in through the ports from China. This is old school. Like, these rackets are like, don't even exist anymore almost. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a super cool interview. Yeah, we got some good people coming on. I got Matt Cox coming on in a few weeks. That's a legend right there. That'll be fun. I've seen hours of that guy. He has so many stories. I feel like he never runs out, man. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to talk to him about. Yeah, but he even got surgery on his face. I mean, he went extreme. Wow, did he? Okay, I'm going to have to. Yeah, because he was getting chased for a bit. So I think, the one I saw, he got plastic surgery on his face and couldn't be identified on cameras because there's cameras everywhere. I feel like it's way harder now to get away with stuff. It is. But shockingly, sort of like easier. You think so? Because now they track your phone though. Yeah, I mean, but then you see in LA every other day there's a smash and grab and like nobody gets arrested. You know what I mean? So it's like it's always like an up and down. Right. It does. It's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It seems I talk to cops and cops are like, yeah, actually, the odds of you getting away with murder now are actually higher in certain places. Damn. Yeah. That's surprising. Yeah, that's a statistic. Maybe your we got to look producer into that. Can look it up. Because all the forensic evidence, I feel like they're catching murderers from 20 years ago now. For sure. Yeah. I guess maybe a cold case, but they're clearing less murders. Clearing just means you get an arrest
on a murder, like a suspect.
Right.
So, and they say that's because of the war on drugs. It's taken way more resources away from like local police departments.
Yeah.
That would otherwise be investigating homicides.
Wow.
Yeah. So
smash and grab in LA is nothing. They don't even
show
up for that.
Well, I kind of want to get down. You know what I mean? I'm off paper. I'm not on parole. Like let's. The problem with being 6'6" and a smash and grab, there's no denying it. If you get caught.
If I get caught doing something, they're gonna eyewitness testimonial right away.
Yeah.
No one looks like us. You know what I mean?
I know.
Do you still talk to anyone you were in prison with?
Yeah, I got a good buddy of mine. He lives in San Diego. He's doing great.
Nice.
And I didn't know we weren't in the maximum together. I got shipped off to like a minimum security after I got out of the big, scary maximum. And that's how I knew him. So it was really chill. But yeah, he was a good guy. And he was the one that, like, I would always tell him, I'm going to LA. You know, I want to be in show business. I want to write movies and all this.
Yeah.
And so he's seen all of it happen. And it's
that's
really
a real
cool.
one, bro. That's cool. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Dude, anything you want to promote or close off with?
Yeah, The Connect with Johnny Mitchell, my podcast, video series. Just, type it in. All over the internet. I'm on the road doing stand-up. I'll be in Tampa, Florida at Side Splitters, March 7th. I'm a very good stand-up comedian. Ooh. So that's the next step, is for the world to see it. So we're going to try to pivot on the brand a little bit. So come out and see me. And then, just Instagram, TikTok, all that. Johnny Mitchell. Yeah.
Thanks, man. If you're ever doing stand-up in Vegas, hit me up.
Yeah. There's a lot of stand-up in Vegas.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, see you tomorrow.